What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'm going to talk about some big news that just came out and what's going on with the share price. Just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total. And the offer ends at the end of March, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, as far as Tesla's going, just note that Tesla had this high at this 440 area. Since then, we got this big red bar of rejection, and we were trying to hold this trend line for the last couple of days. And as of recently, we are starting to break below it. However, Tesla has not lost the 414 area yet, our 50 EMA. And if that ends up happening, then yes, this could start to dip a lot more. So I'll be watching to see if we hold support or not. We're barely at it right now, and I'll give you guys more insights in just a few minutes. But just know a couple of things right over here. There's been some talk and some news coming out that Tesla is going to significantly raise its prices for all cars in Canada, according to their website. So not the best of news for Tesla out there. This is going to be happening starting February 1st, according to notices on its Canadian website, with prices of the Model 3 going up as much as 9,000 Canadian dollars. That's about $6,200 USD. The Model Y variants are going to see increases of about $4,000. That is, while other versions of the Model S and X are going to be also going up by about 4,000. The company does not produce cars in Canada and imports from other factories. It did not immediately give us more insights about how they're being affected, why is this happening, or anything else like that. So we'll see what happens moving forward. But just know that this is something that we have to be ready for. Prices are going to be going up, and we'll see how this affects their demand. On top of this, there's been a lot of headlines still circulating about the shifts from, funding decreasing from EV charging infrastructure. Those were a lot of benefits that really helped Tesla, and that is something that is being halted right now. So once again, during this administration, there's going to be some things that benefit Tesla and other things may not. It is what it is. I'm still seeing lots of headlines about this. That's why I'm bringing this up. Piper Sandler, just 2 days ago, they raised their price target of Tesla to about $500. That was another good piece of news. I'm still seeing headlines about that, so that's what's going on, at least thus far. So some good news and some not so good news. So we'll see how this affects Tesla. As far as our data for the day goes, we just got initial jobless claims that was a little bit above expectations. Everything else is pretty much close, especially the 4-week average. However, just note that moving forward at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the 4 and 8-week bill auctions, and that's pretty much it. So there's nothing else that's coming out that's too crazy, so just keep that in mind. And then I also want to add that we had some earnings this morning. We had American Airlines and a few more. Unfortunately, they did not do as well, which is very ironic considering the other airlines did better. They are expecting an adjusted loss per share of 20 to 40 cents for the first 3 months of 2025, based off the current demand trends. Not the best of news for them. They also said they expect their unit costs, excluding fuel, to rise in the low single-digit percentage points for the first quarter of I think this is supposed to say 2025. It says 2024. They meant 2025. And also their overall outlook is basically the same. It's not the best of news, at least for them. That's why the share price is down. It wasn't the best of expectations that have come out. Besides that, the market hit all-time highs. We're very close to them, but now we're watching some tough resistance, and we'll see how we end up reacting. I didn't see anything else that was too crazy in the news. Elon Musk did comment on the $500 billion AI investment plan. He doesn't think that some of these companies have the funding for it, but once again, that is contentious. And then one thing that's worth mentioning is that JP Morgan Chase's CEO, Jamie, has come out and he has downplayed fears of the looming tariffs that could reignite US inflation. He mentioned that if it's a little inflationary, but it's good for national security, so be it. That's what he said. Once again, it's his opinion. I respect it. Different people have different views. It is what it is. And that's pretty much it for now that I'm seeing on the news. Anyways, enough about the news. Let's focus on the charts. So Tesla now has a very interesting trend that's going on here. So we had this high up here. We've come down. We're making like lower highs. But it's also worth noting that if I bring up this tool right here, if we hit this resistance, which I think we're going to try to push a little bit to hit this around near 418, we need to break past this. To be bullish, you want to see Tesla do this. We have to try to break this resistance and reverse and try to hold this blue trend line. Okay, that's how you turn bullish. If Tesla can't do that, if we hit this trend line and we reject, we're going to be watching 414. We got to hold 414. If we can't hold 414, then Tesla's going to be at risk of dumping all the way down to where this wick is, the low 400s, if not below to where this imbalance is. So I'm seeing some weakness on the share price. There's a possible left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder. And the risk is a little bit more in favor of the downside. When we open, there might be a little push that comes to Tesla. It does love to push upon open, but watch and see if 414 holds today. If we lose 414, we turn bearish. And if we hold it, we could remain bullish. We'll see about that. I am seeing the risk of this potentially remaining a little bit more bearish if we lose 414. So look for a push upon open, then maybe a rejection. If 414 fails us, we will be dipping more. So please keep that in mind. As far as SPY goes, we're holding support right now. We're in this chop zone between 604 and 608, but just know we still have a gap to fall all the way down to 603s. So I think today we try to push in the morning just a little bit. There's going to be a small push right here towards the 607 area. And we have to see if we can sustain these levels. If not, if we end up losing 605, we could be at risk of coming back down to 602 for a small little pullback. So please keep that in mind. If we break 608, we will remain bullish, but I'm not leaning that direction. I think we shop around here for some time, but there is that risk of us eventually dipping because of the current trend. So look for a move like this where we trade sideways, and then we'll see if we eventually come back down just to cool off on the RSI. And the reason I say this is because when you look at the daily, we have so many gaps that are unfilled. So it's very probable that we might be coming down to fill at least one of them. So we'll see about that. We'll see if we get some kind of reversal over the next 1 to 2 days. The QQQ is starting to dip just a little bit. We're barely at 529 right now. We have a gap to fill all the way down to 527. So unless we reclaim 530, we do favor a move to come down to 527 to fill that gap. Might rebound a bit before it starts to dip, but 527 to 525 could be coming for a small dip on the QQQ before it tries to bounce. Unless it breaks 533 to turn bullish, it favors a move down towards the mid to high 520s. We could rebound to 528 and reject here. If we lose 226, we're looking for a dip back down to fill that gap at 225. I find that to be very probable for the Russell 2000, so keep that in mind as we have that gap to fill. For a few more, Bitcoin's already rejected. I did call this out yesterday. There's kind of like a head and shoulders. We need to try to reclaim 103,000. If not, we're going to be at risk of dipping to about 98,000. So watch that very closely. Nvidia is very resilient. It's trying to hold up. It did dip to about 144, so it does have a gap that's going to form and might try to bounce upon open. But if we don't get a true bounce yet, what could be happening is this is forming like a giant cup and handle. So we'll see if we could try to reclaim 147. If we can't, look for 144 support. If that fails, there's going to be a risk of us dipping towards like 140 flat, 140 to 141. And then we could see a bounce after that. So watch these levels. If 147.5 breaks, we're going to be pushing more. If we lose 144, we could be dipping a lot lower towards 140. We'll see if we bounce off any one of these levels. Just keep that in mind. For Aapl, Apple's looking a little bit more bullish. We could be pushing for essentially 227, and then we have this gap to fill at 229. I think that we need to try to hold above 224 at the very least to bounce. There could be a small bounce coming to Aapl for at least 227, so I see some potential in it. But it's not super strong. It's not like it's breaking out extremely hard. It might just be a small bounce. Coinbase is barely holding support. We're going to be looking for a test of 295, then maybe a rejection and move back down to 286. We have to see if that holds. Otherwise, we could be dipping closer to like 280 flat. So a move like this could be happening, that gap fill above, then a move lower, and we'll see what kind of reaction we get from here. So watch that very closely. For Amazon, we're looking bullish. We actually held support. We came down, as I predicted yesterday, to retest this, and now we're trying to hold up. So as long as we could hold this area right here, we could continue to push. Look for 235 to be tested. If we break that, we're going to be looking for 237. As of right now, it looks a bit more bullish. Unless we lose 233, we will turn back down. But for now, it's looking like it's trying to bounce and push for 235 and maybe 237. Meta looks a little bit more bullish. We have this possible cup and handle like structure. So this could try to push up for about 630 or so. Microsoft is looking a little weaker. We were supposed to hold above 448. It could be dipping to about 440 flat, and we'll see if we bounce off that or not. Google's also trading sideways here. Might be dipping to about 198 before it tries to bounce. We have to break 202s to remain bullish. Otherwise, we're just range bound. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. Just know that as far as Tesla goes, they should try to push upon open. We'll see if we can reclaim 418 to 420. I want to see if we can break our structure. Otherwise, this is showing a little bit of weakness because we have to see if 414 holds. When we open, look for a push. We're going to likely try to push for 418 or so. But then if Tesla continues to make lower highs here and we come back down to 414, if we don't hold 414, then yes, I will turn a little bit more bearish. So watch and see if we hold or not. With that being said, I appreciate you guys so much for listening. Have a good rest of your day. I'll be back in a couple of hours for another update, and peace out.